Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. I got a line of special guest, NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle driver, Jianna Salinas. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
First off, I want to say congratulations on your first event win.
Thank you very much.
So, how you feel?
Still a little in shock, honestly. It still has not settled in. It was just a crazy day filled with, crazy outcomes.
Yeah, that was a crazy weekend, especially with the Steve Torrance ordeal.
Yeah, the emotions were definitely high that weekend.
You have any thoughts on what happened with Steve Torrance?
Um, I can't really say. That wouldn't be exactly how I handle the situation, but, I'm not Steve Torrance. I'm not in his shoes. I wasn't in there at the moment, so I can't really. I don't feel that I have a place to speak on it.
Now, you want to recap your weekend drag racing?
Yeah, sure, of course. It was definitely pretty crazy. Looking at it from a numbers point, I had a very low chance of even making it past round one. Going up against someone like Andrew Hines. He's an amazing racer. He pretty much had it going first round. So just to make it past first round for me was pretty crazy. Then second round, once again, I believe I raced Steve Johnson and another amazing racer. Let's just say the odds were definitely against me if we're looking at it from a numbers standpoint. But drag racing is drag racing. Sometimes all you got to do is just go from point A to point B, and that's what gets you through the day.
Then to make things even better, your dad won too.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that was extra special for you guys.
Yeah, it was great that we were able to both share our first wins in that season, at least.
Now, would you say you had a successful season?
Um, I think so. I definitely had my ups and downs, but I think as a team, I'd say it's very successful. Just the fact that Greg Underdahl, Gary, and Karen were able to get me to that point in Pomona where I was, starting from nothing and then just being able to compete was pretty amazing. And I owe all of that to them. Just their amazing teaching and just their patience with me. So overall, we have a lot to grow. We have a long way to grow as a team, but overall, I think we had a pretty good season.
Now, in the off season, are you looking to do any changes to the motorcycle?
Not that I know of. From what I understand, we're going to keep everything the same. Most of the changes are just going to be made with me. Like I said, I have a lot of work to do to get to where I need to be, to where I'm competitive. So we're planning on doing a lot of testing after the holidays, just get as many laps in as possible before Gainesville.
All right, now I'm gonna rewind the clock now and ask you how did you get into drag racing?
So grew up around it. My dad was always in drag racing. My sisters and I actually started junior drag racing when we were younger. We only did it for a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3, because it was pretty difficult to get all 3 of my sisters and I out to Sacramento or Bakersfield all together at once. We were all in school, and we all were always doing sports in school as well. So it was pretty hectic. And then my dad started his career in Top Fuel a couple years ago, and that's where most of our attention went. And then when the opportunity presented itself for Jasmine and myself to, step into drag racing on a higher scale, we were lucky enough to be able to take that opportunity.
Now, for the couple years that you did the junior dragster thing, were you successful?
Honestly, no, not at all. There were so many of us. It was difficult. We had no help. It was just, my family and I out there doing that. And we really had no idea what we were doing. And the kids that were out there racing, they were doing this every single weekend, and we were showing up maybe once every 4 or 5 months. So I would definitely say we were not competitive or successful at all.
Now, I had a message from a fan asking me to ask you if you're going to stay in, pro stock motorcycle racing, or are you going to move into a dragster later on?
I get that question a lot, and I have the same answer every time. I'm staying with the bikes. I have a lot to work on, and I'm nowhere near being an amazing rider right now. And I like that. I like that challenge, and I don't think I'm going to leave this class until I become an amazing rider. And that's pretty difficult, so I think I'm going to be there for a while.
All right, now, besides your dad being a big influence on you for drag racing, are there any other drivers out there that have been inspirational to you?
I mean, just all the female drivers out there. I remember going to the races with my sisters and I, and just going and getting Ashley's, at the time, Ashley Forrest, her autograph, and just being mesmerized. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a woman in the sport. And the few times that we were able to go to the professional races, I just remember being in love with their whole family, Brittany, Courtney, everybody, and I looked up to them, and I still look up to them, and I'm still a fangirl. I see them now, and I get all excited when they say hi to me, and I'm like trying to keep it cool, but I'm like, oh my gosh, because, I grew up being in love with them, and I'm still in love with them, so it's amazing to be able to, be out there racing with them.
Yeah, so how about Leah Pritchett?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Leah's awesome. She's always been really nice to my sisters and I. She's always offered to help us when we need help. Everybody out there is really nice.
All right, now, what's been the fastest run time you had with the motorcycle?
In Pomona during Q4, I ran a 6:97 with a 2, I believe. And that was my best time. So yeah, I mean, I'm making moves little by little. But when you're doing something like this, you have to celebrate those little moments just as much as you can.
So what was the experience like for you the first time ever driving the bike down the track?
So let's see, let's go back in time a little bit. The first pass I ever made, so I was very lucky because I came into this with no experience. Jerry, Greg, and Karen, they had set up almost like a trainer bike. A trainer bike. So it pretty much had the same body, same everything as a normal pro stock motorcycle, but the engine was a little different. So I was able to ride the bike and make like 10-50 runs and slowly progress. But I just remember feeling so nervous and thinking, oh my gosh, I was like, this is it. This is my moment. If I mess this up, they're not going to want to work with me. But I was so lucky to just have them there, to be able to just, support me through that whole moment. And it was just, I let the clutch out slowly and I just drove it off the line. And I just remember going down and I just kept pushing the button to the gears. I think I pushed it like 10 times, thinking that, oh my gosh, it's going to go faster and faster every time. But it was just so much fun, and that's definitely when my need for speed kicked in right there. I knew I was in love with the bike, and I knew that I was going to need more and more speed as time went on.
So what made you choose motorcycle racing?
It definitely seemed like the most difficult class out there. And I love a challenge, and it definitely is a challenge for me. I think that's been pretty obvious over my season, but just the sheer experience that you need to be able to get the bike down the track, just the amount of finesse that it takes just to get the bike from point A to point B. A lot of people don't realize how skilled you have to be to do that, and all the riders out there make it look so easy. And I just love that about them, just the amount of grace that they have while riding. I love how much pressure gets put on the rider as well. I mean, we don't just get pointed straight and go down the track. We have so much more that we have to think about. We have to shift, we have to take 3 Gs with no seatbelt on. We have to be ready for it. And I just love that. Just challenge every time.
So now, who are the crew members that keep this bike running?
So there's Greg Underdahl, and Gary Stouffer, and Karen Stouffer as well.
Now, besides Scrappers, do you have any other sponsors?
I do. So I was very lucky to be able to team up with True Disruption, which is a lifestyle clothing brand. And he was able to sponsor me for Vegas and Pomona. And I'm actually very proud and honored to be able to say that we'll be representing him next year as well. So I'm very lucky for that opportunity.
Now, are you currently looking for more sponsors?
I am. But a lot of it, we have somebody, Melanie Johnson. We actually took her on this year, and she's been amazing. We've never been very good. Nobody in my family's been very good at asking for help. So we always had a really hard time, trying to go find sponsors. So it was really easy for us to, give the reins over to Melanie, and she's just been amazing. She's taken on, so much work, and she's just awesome.
Now, when you're out on a track, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Superstitions, kind of. It depends. At least for Pomona, before each run, I had a bite of chocolate and I had a sip of Coke. So I did that every single run, and I always put my shoes on the same way. It goes left before right. Little weird things like that, but mostly I just try, when I'm in the staging lanes, I just try to mentally, calm myself down and just really focus and, just go out there and race my race.
Now, what kind of preparation goes in for you to get ready for a weekend of drag racing?
So I'm very lucky. Right now, how we have it set up is I just need to fly in and everything's taken care of already. So a lot of the work gets put on Greg and Gary Stouffer, and they take care of everything for me, and they're just amazing.
So you just got to get your mind prepared for drag racing then?
Yes, definitely the mental part of it.
So how do you get mentally prepared?
I'll be honest, it's very difficult, especially because I'm learning so much at such a fast rate. It's hard for me to, take the time to just calm down and center myself. But the past couple of races, I've come up with, a saying that helps me calm down. And I'd like to share that if you don't mind. Pretty much I just say, when I do all the physical aspects, the rest will come. And that really just helps me to remember, I know what I'm doing on the track, so there's no need for me to doubt myself. It's become repetition, so it'll just happen. And I just need to trust myself.
All right. Now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on?
Definitely Vegas. I got licensed at Vegas, so that's always a fun one to go back to. Sonoma, of course, that's the home track. I love that track. Probably North Carolina. Beautiful facility. Track is amazing. But other than that, each track is so unique. And that's something I definitely learned this season. Each track has its bumps, its weird little quirks. And I've gotten the opportunity to really learn how the tracks are. Make a mental memory of that, which is nice.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from? Like your fire suit, stuff like that?
So I get my leathers from Base Leathers. That's what Karen Stouffer suggested I use, and I've been in love with the moment, I put them on. I was wearing them when I crashed. They held up. I had one little rip, but that was mainly because the way I fell. But the leathers took 99% of the heat. So I'm definitely will be wearing baits for the rest of my career in Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Now, if there's anybody listening to this interview right now and they're thinking about, doing motorcycle racing, what kind of advice would you give that person?
You mean if they were to start?
Yeah, if they're thinking about starting up motorcycle drag racing, what kind of advice would you give them?
Um, well, if you have zero experience, I would suggest that you do something. If you wanted to start, you had zero experience like myself, a dirt bike would definitely be a good way to get a feel just for a bike itself. And then, slowly start to move to, smaller bike, bigger engine, wheelie bar, small tire, and then slowly work your way up. But there's so many different routes that you can go. The bike community is a huge community, and there's so many different variations. It just really depends on the rider.
All right. Now, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your drag racing career so far?
Of course, Pomona. That's a big one. That has to be the biggest one. Chicago. Definitely when I crashed. I learned a lot from the crash. It might sound a bit weird, but I would definitely say that it was a negative and a positive day. I had some of my best runs in Chicago. That was the first round win in Chicago. And then, of course, the crash. But I learned so much from the crash, and I came back even stronger. So it's not something I can forget. The day I got licensed in Las Vegas, that was a big one for me. And the first time I ran my first six, which was also in Chicago, to be able to finally break past that 7 range felt amazing. Felt like a huge weight had been lifted off of me.
So you like Route 66?
The track itself is a beautiful track. I would definitely feel that I have to go back there and race. On that day, the track won, and I would like to go back and, make a mental note of, I can race this track. So I'll definitely have to go back.
So how many events did you run this year?
14.
Now, how many are you looking to do next year?
All 16.
All right. Now, besides that one accident, that's the only accident you've had?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, knock on wood, you won't have any more, Jianna.
I hope I don't have any more. But you never know. Racing is racing.
All right, so I'm going to ask you some fun questions now. Outside of drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
I enjoy riding my Harley just down the coast. I'm very lucky to live in California. I only live about 30 minutes away from the beach. So I like to take my bike through the Santa Cruz Mountains and come out on Highway 1 and just ride the coast up and down and just relax. Other than that, I'm pretty much just working and going to school, so I don't have much time.
All right, now, what's been your most embarrassing moment on the track?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've had a lot. Probably Chicago, probably the crash. That was pretty embarrassing. Just because that's not something a lot of riders do, and a lot of riders have actually never crashed. So for me to do that, it was pretty embarrassing. But I got over it, so that's fine.
All right, now, if someone were to give you $500 million and they wanted you to build a brand new drag race track, where would you consider building a new track at, and what kind of features would you want to put into a brand new track?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. Location-wise, I don't know. That's a hard one. Probably say San Jose, I guess. I mean, it's close. I'd only have to drive 5 minutes to the track. And I think because it's such a big tech hub over here, I think we could incorporate at least a lot of technology. A lot of virtual reality would be pretty fun for the fans. Make it a little bit more interactive for them. Use a little bit more technology. That way the fans can have, a true experience.
Yeah, some of the tracks, I think they need to put Wi-Fi in them.
I believe that too. I'm walking around holding my phone up in the air trying to get any signal.
Yeah. Now, would you put any special activities for kids to do while they're at the track?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think as a whole, I think NHRA has to try to get more young people to come in. And I think for the young people that we do get, I think, for the kids at least, we should make it a little fun for them. That way they're not just having to walk around in the heat, get tired and take a nap. Probably, some playgrounds out there. And I would honestly make it a really cool playground where they have cars and bikes out there. And, use simulators somewhere where they can experience it on their level. They get the full experience.
Yeah, the kids are the future of drag racing.
They are. I agree with that 100%.
Now, in pro stock motorcycle racing, do you have a greatest competitor?
Definitely Karen Stouffer. I think we've only run each other maybe once in qualifying, but because she's pretty much trained me and I know everything because of her, it just makes me want to be able to run her. I think she's one of the best out there, and it's one day I want it to be us two in the finals, and I want us, throw down. I think it'd be amazing. Kind of the grasshopper and the Yoda right there. I think that'd be amazing. I think it'd be really fun.
Now, if you're able to time travel and go back in time, would you do anything differently with the racing career?
I think I would have gotten a little bit more bike experience before coming into the racing. But like I said, I had zero experience coming into it, which made my learning curve a lot more difficult. Luckily, I was able to pick up everything that I needed to at a fairly decent rate. But I do suggest that for anybody who wants to come into the bike to have some experience, I think it helps so much with the physical and the mental part of it. And it definitely streamlines the whole process.
Now, Jianna, if you have time to take a vacation, what's your favorite vacation getaway?
Somewhere with the beach. I enjoy just relaxing. I don't want to think about work, school, anything. I enjoy the heat. Born and raised in California. Anything less than 75, and you'll see me in a long sleeve and a sweatshirt. So I definitely need the heat. Ideal Hawaii would be amazing.
Now, what is your favorite food you like to eat?
Any Asian food whatsoever. I'm Indonesian, so I grew up heavily around Asian food. I eat Asian food almost every day, so I get kind of sad when I travel, to the races and there is no Asian food. I start to miss home. So definitely Asian food is my number one.
All right, what's your favorite beverage to drink?
Water. Definitely water. I'm not a big soda person. Water or tea. That's about it.
Now, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, favorite movie. I do, yes. Not a lot of people know it. It is a Disney movie, Emperor's New Groove. It's kind of weird, but it's funny. I grew up watching it. I used to memorize every single word and recite it. That is my all-time favorite movie.
So now, for you, for favorite music, is your favorite music classic rock like your sister because your dad played in the car all the time?
Yep, I grew up with that. Put any classic rock on, I just instantly think of my childhood. Think of going to the Good Guys car show every year. I feel safe with it. Feels good.
So do you have a favorite classic rock band?
I don't, honestly. That's too hard of a question to answer. I love them all.
All right, now, do you binge? You probably don't have time to watch much TV, but do you have any favorite TV shows?
The time that I'm, not trying to do my homework, trying to procrastinate, I enjoy Handmaid's Tale. Amazing show. The Grey's Anatomy. I've watched that show for a long time on our last season here. So, you know, you have to stick with it to watch it all. But yeah, I'm pretty simple. I like crime shows. Criminal Minds is pretty good. Watch anything really.
Now, when you were growing up as a little kid, what was your favorite cartoon?
Ooh. See. I always like SpongeBob. SpongeBob is really funny. I watch it now and I get more of the jokes now than I did when I was younger. So I still have a fun time watching it, but definitely as a child I enjoyed SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yep. Funny show.
So now, when you're at the track, do you eat anything, or do you wait till after the races are done?
Did you ask if I eat anything?
Yeah, do you eat any
Oh, okay.
race day?
Sometimes. It depends. Sometimes I get a little nervous and I won't eat and I'll just kind of, you know, have a banana or an apple or something. But I try to always eat, especially when it's really hot. And a lot of the races we go to, it gets really hot and humid. So I'm constantly having to remind myself to, you know, get some food in so I don't start feeling dizzy.
So if you weren't pro motorcycle drag racer, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
Honestly, I don't think I'd be doing anything much differently. I think I'd still be in school, still pursuing my degree. I think I would just be giving 100% of my time to finding a job. Right now, I'm only giving about 50%. As graduation years, I'm getting a little bit more nervous. I'm going to have to figure out something sooner or later.
Now, are you a dog person or a cat person?
Oh, dog person, 100%.
All right, what's your favorite color?
Pink, but I'm very specific about it. I like light colored pink, almost like a ballet slipper. I'm very picky about my shades of pink.
All right, do you have any pet peeves?
Let's see. Pet peeve. I don't like when people make fun of one another. You know, everybody's unique in their own way, and who are you to judge that other person? So I have a hard time when somebody's mean about another person. I usually have a hard time keeping my mouth closed about it too. I'll usually say something. That's a big no-no for me. So, you know, just need to be nice.
All right, now, as far as the sport of drag racing goes, do you have anything? You have a bucket list of things you would like to accomplish during drag racing on?
I definitely want to become world champion. And I would also like to be able to win a race where both my sister and my dad win at the same time. I think that would be unbelievably amazing for all three of us to be in the winner's circle all together.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Big family victory right there.
Oh yeah. We'll see who has bragging rights then.
Yeah. So, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career? Probably the win you just had, right?
Yeah, probably the win, and I think not so much the win itself. I think the way that everybody reacted when I won. Just to see the pure excitement from my crew and my family. You know, there's nothing that can replace that.
So now, how important do you think it is for kids to come out and watch drag racing?
I think it's extremely important. I mean, I'm one of the very few younger people in drag racing right now. And I'll be honest, I need more young friends out there. All I have are older friends. And, I mean, I would love to get some younger people out there. So, you know, any opportunity that I have to inspire younger generations to get into drag racing, I do everything I can to, because it's an amazing sport and it's an amazing community, and that's something I'd love to share with the younger generations.
Yeah, a lot of the drag racers that I interview, they tell me it'd be good just to get the kids out of the house to do anything.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, I think if we could find a way to, connect technology, and social media plus drag racing, find a happy medium, I think we might have a gateway there.
Yeah, those video games with these kids, they're just glued to them like zombies.
Yep, it's crazy.
Yeah, modern technology.
And it has its pros and cons, unfortunately.
Yeah, back years ago, you used to have a lot of kids. They were into working on cars, getting under the car and working on them, going under the hood. Not these days.
Yeah, it's definitely something, if you've grown up around drag racing, you know what it is. But if you haven't, unfortunately, when you say, oh, drag racing, most people think, oh, Fast and Furious. That's about it of their knowledge of drag racing.
Yeah. So, if people want to follow you in your pro stock motorcycle racing, what's the best way to people to follow you and see where you're going to be at and all that good stuff?
Follow me on Instagram. It's just my first name _ last name or Team Scrappers. Either Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. Scrappers Racing is always on Instagram. Trying to update, keep everything current, let people know what's going on and off the track. So yeah, that's where you'll find us.
Now, do you have an online store where people can buy merchandise?
Yes. So actually, we use my sponsor, True Disruption. So if you go on TrueDisruption.com, you can find all of our apparel on there.
Now, in the pit area, do you get a lot of kids coming up to you and talking to you?
I do, actually. And it's funny because most of them are my size. And then I find out they're, half my age. But I love talking to kids that come up, just asking them, if it's their first race, if they've been here before. And it's surprising. A lot of them say that, they've been coming to this since they were babies. I'm like, well, that's great. There's so much potential right there, to be able to get you guys to keep coming out here. I think it says so much that you have kids out there that are actually wanting to come to the drag races. That says a lot, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Now, do you let any of the kids sit on the bike?
Every once in a while I will. Usually if I'm in the staging lane, and the kids want to take a picture, and most of them fit perfectly. Some of them even fit better on my bike than I do. They're perfect size for it. You have to be pretty small to ride a pro stock motorcycle, so it's a great opportunity to let the kids sit on.
Yeah. So when you first got into drag racing, being a female drag racer, did you feel any intimidation being out there?
No. I think that drag racing has such a strong equal opportunity, I guess you could call it. It's one of the very few sports that, regardless of age, gender, ethnicity, you all race each other. And that's what I love so much about the sport. So, I mean, yes, I'm a woman out there. Yes, I think that there could definitely be a lot more women out there. But in terms of intimidation, no, never really felt intimidated out there.
Yeah, I think with all the women drivers we have out there, I think the days of sexism are pretty much gone now.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're gone. I definitely don't see it within the racers, at least between the racers. But you still get your comments every once in a while from from couple fans here and there.
Yeah, I'm sure from time to time, yeah, it still exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to go away.
So, what kind of advice would you give a young female, driver of the future that might be intimidated?
Advice, believe in yourself. Being so young and being in the sport, I think the mental side of it is so much more difficult than the physical side. And to be successful, I think you really have to not only be passionate about it, but you have to have confidence in your own ability. I think that's probably one of the most difficult things especially for young girls. Constantly, we're told that we have to fit into certain standards, look a certain way, and when you don't, or when you don't perform the way you need to perform, there's a lot of negative repercussions that come with that. So just being mentally strong, just believing in yourself and knowing that regardless of how many people out there say that you can't do it, that, there's always people out there that think you can, and most importantly, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, I think if you put your mind to anything, you can accomplish anything.
Exactly.
Well, Jianna, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, no problem. We'll do another one in the future.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd love that.
Now, do you have any final words or thank yous, any kind of stuff like that before we close?
Just been all around. Thank you very much. My season has been amazing. It's been an amazing learning year. And to all the young girls out there, I leave you with the message of you are strong, you are beautiful, and you are unbelievably capable of achieving whatever goal you set your mind to.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jianna, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving as well.
And I wish you the best of luck with the 2020 drag racing season.
Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you again.
No problem, and you have a great night.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.